welcome to Life with Jane. It's Foodie Friday and we're doing a tray bake recipe, and this is another old recipe and it's a prune tray bake. So we're going to be using these, which are tinned prunes in juice, not in syrup because you don't want it too sweet. You can use dried prunes. You need to soak them in tea first. But it's as easy these days to get the prunes in, you know, tinned prunes that are already done. So in a bowl we need to put some sugar, and the sugar is 175 grams of sugar. So 175 grams of sugar, and we need to put in some 150 grams of butter. And I've just melted mine in the microwave so it's soft, so it's easy to mix and do and doesn't take quite so long. So let me just get myself a spoon. So I've got my big old trusty spoon here, and I'm just going to mix all of that in together. And just make sure that it's all well combined. Now we need to put in the eggs, and we need 3 eggs this time. So 3 eggs. These I know are very fresh, so I'm going to crack them straight in. I always said I always do them into a glass, and the last few times I've made things I've done them straight into the bowl, but I've literally only just bought these ones, so they should all be beautifully fresh. It's only if you've got eggs that you've had in the fridge for a little while or on the side a little while, and then you go, ooh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Okay, so those are my eggs, and again we're just going to mix those in. So I just need to make sure that I break the egg yolks in there. Come around this side a bit, then I can do it for mixing it in. Just want to give it a good old mix in here, and the more you mix it, the more it'll come together nicely. Okay, now we need to add in the prunes, and it's literally, I've done a whole tin of prunes, and all I've done is I've taken the pips out of them and I've just chopped them. So they are going to go straight in like that, and you can see they're nice and soft because they're tinned ones. As I said, if you're using dried, you would need to soak them in something to start off with. Quite often people will soak them in tea. Because that's a good way to soak them. So I'm just mixing those in. That gives it a nice, and I've kept them reasonable sized pieces. I have chopped them up quite a bit, but you know, you don't want them too small. So I've taken that in like that. I've still got the liquid and everything in here, and we're going to use that as part of a drizzle when we come to the end. So now I need to add the flour, and we have got 250 grams of, and I'm using wholemeal flour because again it is a recipe that, although it's a very old recipe, it's a good one for using up or using things that has got a lot of fibre with it. Now I'm just going to add some spices, and I want some cinnamon, and I'm going to put some, now you can use cinnamon, nutmeg, any sort of warm spices. I'm going to use cinnamon, but I'm also going to use ginger because I fancy it with some warm ginger in there. So I want a teaspoon of cinnamon. So I'm going to take not a heaped one, so I'm going to take a teaspoon of cinnamon like that, and then I'm going to take half a teaspoon of ginger. So it might not go in there. Isn't it funny? Oh yes, it will. I was going to say I have all of these. I haven't shown you my spice rack. I'll show it to you one day. But I have, just give that almost a teaspoon of ginger, which will be fine because it's quite a big cake. I've got a beautiful spice rack which has got little ceramic dishes and things in, so that's what I use. Now we need to mix this all in together, and if you find it's a little dry, I don't think it will be this time, but if you did find it was a little dry, you can then add a little bit of the juice from the prunes in there, but this is going to come in quite nicely. As you can see, it's coming into a nice cake consistency, and you want it to be, as I say, like a cake consistency. So let's just make sure we've got all of that in together, and I don't need to add anything else in there. So that's mixed up nicely, and then that can go into the bowl. And I thought I'd show you once I've done this. Can you see how the prunes are sort of breaking down a bit more, which is good. So that's mixed in nicely. Now what I've done is I have taken a little tray. You can have whatever size tray you want. The narrower and deeper it is, the longer it'll take to cook. This one is, my span is 7, so it's probably 8 inches square. I would think. I've just put some greaseproof paper in the bottom, or parchment paper, and I'm just going to put this in on top. So I'm just spooning it out. Because it will come up quite well. And as I say, because you've got wholemeal and prunes, it's going to be quite a good recipe with lots of fibre in it, which again is something that we should be having in our diets. But again, you've still got that real nice sweet tooth in there, and it's not an overly rich mixture. And the fact that it comes in a tray bake, you can cut it into whatever sort of squares you want. So just making sure I've got all of this out of the bowl. Need a spatula really. Let's take that out, put all of that in. Oh, I've got a little bit of floury mixture on there. That wasn't very good, stuck to the bottom of the spoon. It won't matter too much. Okay, so what I need to do with this is literally just make sure that I get it out to the corners. So I'm just moving it down so it comes all the way into the corners, because you want it to just rise up evenly. So then when it's in, then all I'm going to do is to just spread it out like that. Now, you can put it in just like that if you want to. If you want to add some other things to it, you can as well. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to put some, take that out of there, wash my hands just a second. Right, I am going to put some flaked almonds over the top, because, and as I say, this is now entirely up to you how you decorate it. I quite like flaked almonds on a cake. I think it makes them look nice. I happen to have some over, and you can see there's, I could probably do, this is just literally all the scraping pieces off the bottom of this, and I'm not going to open another one. It's just what I had over from before. They're just standard flaked almonds. Okay, so that's going to go into the oven at 160 or gas mark 4. You need to look up in your own country conversions, but 160 UK or gas mark 4 for about 45 minutes. And these are the prunes and the juice that's left over. And there's an old rhyming thing which I don't know if any of you know, so I'm just going to take out these prunes and I'm going to put them in here, and then I'm going to do the saying for you. So if you don't know it, then you can see what the saying is. And what it used to be was, it was one of those things you would say the saying if you were a young unmarried girl doing your baking or learning your baking for your potential husband, and you would go tinker, tailor, soldier, sailor, rich man, poor man, beggar man, thief. Tinker, tailor, soldier, sailor, rich man, poor man, beggar man, thief. Tinker, tailor. So it would mean that I would be marrying a tailor if I was a young girl. Nice little rhyme. We'll see you when the cakes come out of the oven. Hello, so it's come out of the oven and it's cooled for about 10 minutes or so. So I'm going to, so it's not going to be cold, but I'm going to lift it onto a plate so we can then slice it. And as I said, I always, however I make things, I will always turn around and cut them into quarters and then put the other pieces in the freezer and have a quarter at a time, because as you can see, it makes quite a good size cake. So let's have a little cut. It'll still be a little warm, so I should wait till it's gone very cold, but I won't for you so you can actually see. So we've got the toasted almonds on top, so I'm literally just going to cut it into quarters. And the almonds are quite nice because they just have that toasty bit. Now, I did save some of the liquor to put in there, but I think it's going to be more than moist enough. So let me just take it out on a quarter like this. And then I'm going to take this piece just out so I can just show you the inside. I'm not going to cut it into any more slices, but I just want to show you. See if I can put it up in on here. Can you see on there how really lovely and moist that is because of the prunes? And as I say, I'll wait for it to cool completely, but it will make an absolutely delicious, really moist cake. So I hope you enjoyed that. As always, please stay safe and well. Please be kind and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.